Hey guys, I've got here the OnePlus 6T, and I'd like to compare it to Apple's iPhone XR in an ultimate speed test comparison showdown. So we're going to be doing some real world testing, some app launching side by side, some benchmarks, startup tests, the usual. Now both of these phones you wouldn't consider top end phones. I mean, the OnePlus series has always been more affordable than the more expensive models. The iPhone XR is Apple's cheapest offering from the newest lineup, so I think it makes sense to compare both of them at the same time. Now, before we get into that, I just also like to admire the beauty of the OnePlus 6T. Look at that display. I think they made huge strides in terms of sleekness since the original OnePlus 6. Now, comparing the notches alone, you can definitely see how the OnePlus 6T puts the iPhone XR to shame. And it's understandable, it doesn't have the same biometric security data, but still, just look at it. It definitely looks much better than the original OnePlus 6, but also the bottom chin area has been reduced as well. I believe the OnePlus 7 should be looking completely bezel-less. Not only that, but this thing has an in-screen fingerprint sensor, so that's also some really cool technology you're getting on this phone. And here are those internals. You have a choice between 6 or 8 gigabytes of RAM on the OnePlus 6T and a processor that's still lagging behind Apple's A12, the Snapdragon 845. As for the official speed test records, the OnePlus 6 left a high mark, as you can see, only to be beat by the iPhone XS Max. Let's see if the OnePlus 6T can deliver vengeance and receive its crown back on the top of the speed test records. So with all apps cleared, let's go ahead and start that real world test. And this is where we launch some social media applications at first, just those quick ones in and outs for the launching, some web-based stuff in there as well. And both are on par. They're absolutely breezing through this test. Next up, a 10K image, exporting that through Photoshop Express, and then moving on to some harder games. And this is Minecraft, loading on both. And while I'm not using the option to remove animations completely on the OnePlus 6T, that is an option you can actually do from factory to get an even faster speed test time comparison. I'm just doing it how it comes stock on both. Now, both are completely evenly matched. It's kind of amazing here, but round 1 is just launching. Round 2 is actually seeing which applications will stay open in the background after going through the entire cycle here. As you can see, both are now on asphalt, and the OnePlus 6T just breezes through it. This is where it pushes ahead of the iPhone already, and it's an application ahead on Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Now, an observation I made while using the iPhone XR just to get an idea of it is that it's not as smooth as the iPhone XS models. For whatever reason, I'm getting a little bit of a chop when launching applications, just switching between them. It's not as fluid as the iPhone XS models, and I'm not sure why that may be, as they're running the same processors. Hardly the 1 additional gigabyte of RAM can't make that much of a difference, can it, on the XS? But anyways, here you can see the OnePlus 6T has pushed ahead. The iPhone XR is 1-2 applications behind, but that Snapdragon 845 is in for a treat right now, because the iPhone XR excels at video export here. Now, I did have to fast forward this part because I'm sure you don't want to sit here and watch the video compile, but wow, the iPhone XR really shines. And because of how good the Apple A12 is at 4K exporting, it pushed ahead and finished round 1 with 2 minutes and 22 seconds. That's just a little shy of the iPhone XS's record at 2 minutes and 10 seconds. So I'm very proud of this thing, doing very good. And as for round 2, only the big applications were closed, like San Andreas, Minecraft, Asphalt. All the other small ones were kept alive in the background. So I can definitely tell that there's a difference in iOS 12.1 in how the multitasking is handled. So the smaller applications stay open for longer. The OnePlus 6T, I can say the same thing. Even though it did have 8 gigabytes of RAM, it didn't really feel like it. The larger applications, Zynga Poker, Grand Theft Auto, all needed to be reloaded. Only the smaller web-based things were still open in the background. So it finished with a round 2 time of 1 minute and 14 seconds. Okay, so what a test. I'm actually very surprised how close these came to each other in terms of the times. The iPhone XR didn't do as bad as I thought. In fact, it seemed to be on par in the multitasking with the 4 gigabyte iPhone XS models even. Okay, so let's go ahead and delve deeper here into more precise testing, starting with the startup test. So I'm going to shut both of these off. This is Android 9 on the left and iOS 12.1.1 on the right. So let's go ahead and turn both off and start them up at the same time. In 3, 2, 1. And launching both of them at the same time here. So the OnePlus 6T, in my opinion, the best device they have ever released aside from the headphone jack. Honestly, love where this company is going, and the 7 should actually be even more futuristic looking than Apple's. But anyways, Oxygen OS is running, starting, but Apple's did start up just a few seconds faster here, but very, very close, both of them. So for $200 less, the OnePlus 6T, it is so close in performance that you can say it's much better value already. But let's go ahead and launch some apps with all of the apps closed in the app switcher side by side, get a more precise test here. Now do keep in mind that you can turn off animations entirely on the OnePlus. So the drawn out animation, which there isn't really much on the OnePlus, can be reduced altogether. 1, 2, and that's Instagram, did load faster, considerably faster. Camera, 1, 2, a little bit slower there. And maps, 1, 2, did load faster on the OnePlus. Those are some crazy load times there. Photoshop Express, 1, 2. This is pretty decently big application. And Asphalt, 1, 2. So there's a little hesitation before launching the game, but that doesn't necessarily mean it loads slower. On the iPhone, it did load faster here, in this case. Anyways, Netflix, 1, 2. And this web-based app loaded faster on the OnePlus. Let's try Zynga Poker, 1, 2. Again, that hesitation right there. And these apps may not fully be optimized just yet. Yeah, loaded faster on the iPhone here. Spotify, 1, 2. Faster on the OnePlus. Yeah, seems like the web-based apps load on this phone faster. Amazon, 1, 2. Once again, faster on the Android, 1, 2. SoundCloud, once again, faster on OnePlus. And YouTube, 1, 2. Yeah, faster on OnePlus. Interesting. So the heavier stuff seems to load faster on the iPhone. The light web-based applications faster on the OnePlus series. All right, let's load some web pages. And Apple.com, 1, 2. About the same, actually. OnePlus homepage, 1, 2. Yeah, faster on OnePlus there. Okay, so that's the speed of the individual applications. Let's go ahead and get a Geekbench score cooking here on both. Considerable difference in the processors and the RAM. So I'm not sure what to expect, but should be pretty in line, the OnePlus, with most Snapdragon 845 benchmark scores. Okay, so while a formidable score for an Android phone, it still falls short of Apple's iPhone XR. Pretty much the same exact score as the iPhone XS models. The RAM doesn't play much of a part here in terms of the score. It's almost 4,800 on the single and over 11,000 on the multi-core score. That is ridiculously good. Here, almost 9,000 multi and a very paltry 2,300 single core score with 8 gigabytes of RAM. Anyways, let's move on to the Antutu. Let's see with the graphical performance included, what kind of scores we get here. Okay, and wow, much closer than I thought. 293,700 versus 320,000 here. Getting into the specifics, you can see that the GPU on this excels here. Otherwise, very similar. CPU's ahead too, though. So wow, these phones are very close together in almost every single way. Last one I wanted to test out is the Wi-Fi performance on a gigabit router. It looks like the OnePlus just slightly outdid the iPhone XR with a 591 megabit download speed versus 545. So in almost every single way, they are very similar so far. I'm liking what I'm seeing, but $200 less on the OnePlus's side. So let's move on to some biometrics, see how the in-screen fingerprint sensor compares to Face ID in terms of speed. Right. So on the left is the fingerprint unlock with the OnePlus, on the right, Face ID. Let's see how these compare. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so it seems faster on the XR. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah, it definitely is faster. The in-screen fingerprint sensor is not as fast as the external ones were. Those are pretty much instant. Yeah, so you do have a little bit of a delay. Let's try face unlock on both here. And that's a 1, 2, 3. Wow, way faster on the OnePluses, but that's because it's not using the same biometric data, the dot projector or whatnot. It's just using the camera. So let's try that again. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, way faster. So this Face ID is faster than the in-screen fingerprint sensor, but the face unlock here is less secure, but faster. All right, guys, so there it is, the iPhone XR versus the OnePlus 6T. Gotta say, I love what OnePlus has done with this latest phone. It's fast, running the latest version of Android. I love the display and the notch. Seriously, this is a winner. At $549 starting price, this thing is seriously hard to compete with with the iPhone XR. While this thing is still faster, is it $200 worth faster? That's for you to decide. If you want to get the 8GB version, you're gonna have to pay a little bit more for the 256GB OnePlus 6T, but overall a fantastic value. So let me know what you guys think down below in the description. I'd love to hear it from you guys. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the speed test. Stay tuned for the next ones. Peace.